In chapter 6, we now move to the more explicit discussion of tragedy. Okay? Um, and here are, in this opening section of chapter 6, he lays out, I think, what we should regard as the most thorough account of what is tragedy. So, it's an imitation of action. All right, so it's not a telling, it's a showing. And the action has three basic attributes. The action is serious, it's complete, and it's of a certain magnitude. Now, serious means it's not comic, it's not meant to be humorous. Complete is that it tells a whole story, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And a certain magnitude means that it's a story of a significant scope. It's not, say, a minor episode. It's also not too much of a character's life. Okay, so all those elements, basically every word in there is absolutely key. Imitation of action, and the action has these three components. Okay, all right. So now on still in chapter 6, we get into some further discussions of tragedy. And if tragedy is an imitation of action, then action implies agents, right, who necessarily possess distinctive qualities both of character and thought. Okay? And character and thought are the two causes from which our actions spring. So notice, right away, Aristotle's saying that what we're watching with tragedy is we're watching free agents. We're watching people make choices about their actions. Okay? And these choices are based on their thoughts and their character, who they are and what they think. Okay? And the actions of character are what constitute a plot. It's that simple. Plot is imitation of the action made by characters. And character is the qualities that certain agents have. Okay? Now, we get down to this next paragraph, and we see here that that plot is all about the structure of the incidents, how they are arranged, the arrangement of the sequence of events. Okay, and so tragedy imitates not just men, but their action and their lives. All right, and so in order for a tragedy to be believable to us, it needs to believably imitate action, okay, and life, not merely a simple character. All right. So Aristotle then moves on to give a hierarchy of the key elements of a tragedy. First is plot, right? Without plot, you have nothing. Without a sequence of events, you have nothing. Then secondly, you have character, okay? And after that, you have this different idea, which is called thought. This one's a little bit more challenging to understand here. But what he means by thought is that it's a treatment of what is possible or necessary in certain circumstances. It's what we think is likely or necessary. So it means like what we think might happen, what we would expect to happen. And we see again down here that Aristotle is very explicitly saying, like, we're watching free agents here. When we're watching a person's character, we're watching what they choose or avoid. Okay, so there's a lot going on in chapter 6 in terms of just laying out the basics of tragedy. When we move to 7, we see a little bit more about what he means by the plot being complete and of a certain magnitude. We said already that complete means it has a beginning, middle, and end. I know that sounds like kind of pretty basic, but honestly, in the first work in literature of literary theory, like, you kind of need to make that stuff clear. The other thing that he talks about with plot is that the events in a plot should follow either by necessity or as a rule, meaning that nothing should happen haphazardly. Nothing should just sort of seem random. Even things that seem like coincidence or random should actually be happening in a sort of causal way. So notice what we talked about before was that Aristotle thinks that that a plot is essentially just the structure of incidents, and now he's telling us a little bit more about how those incidents should be structured. Um, and they should be structured such that they are connected, the incidents are connected by necessity. Okay? Um, all right. And so when we talk about the definition, lastly, we talk about the definition of magnitude. The magnitude of the plot is a sequence of events which adhere to the laws of probability or necessity and will give space for a change from bad to good fortune or from good to bad. So basically, you need a long enough sequence of events that are all connected by probability or necessity that allow for a peripeteia. Okay, so that's chapters 6 and 7. A lot is laid out there in terms of what constitutes